Tonight you're going to see something special, something we haven't done here before. It's going to be an interview with Mr. David Razowsky, former artistic director of Second City. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. Come on down here.
Thank you.
Just want to make eye contact.
Yes. So welcome. Thank you very much for coming up here and having this interview with us. Let's see where to start. How would you introduce yourself to a room full of strangers?
It's a really good question because the idea of defining yourself is really, it's a slippery slope. It's so slippery, it's hard to say. It's a slippery slope because lately I've just been really conscious of opening myself up to whatever is coming to me. So the only thing that I can say is presently, I am here. And that's one thing. I'm presently present, and I'm mindful, I'm aware. But more than that, I would say that I am an artist who teaches and directs improvisation to actors. I teach improvisation to actors, and I think that that's really an important thing. I don't teach improvisation to improvisers. I teach improvisation to actors.
How do you distinguish the two?
Improvisers have two emotions, lust and anger. 3 emotions, lust, anger, and lustanger. And then there are actors who can do whatever they want to do. And it's a matter of really kind of redefining what it is that we do. And when I say we, what I mean is actors. Because you want to come in here and you want to be funny, that's fine, there's a place for that. But I believe that the moment that you call yourself an actor who improvises as opposed to an improviser, if you say, I'm an actor who improvises, you have, it's a different feeling, it's a total different feeling. To everybody say to yourself, I'm an actor.
I'm an actor.
Now say, I'm an improviser.
I'm an improviser.
Aren't you hungry now? After saying that I'm an improviser? The idea of you are an actor, which means you can be vulnerable, you can be smart, you can know history, you can know theatrical history. There's a tale that you have, and I think most of the improvisers who improvise, most of the people who call themselves improvisers, feel that, oh yeah, no, there's a lot of history. There's whose line, and that's everything that came after. So it's comedian style, and I think that if you go into it not looking at it necessarily from a comedian style, or to say I am here to make you laugh, the understanding is you're here to make me laugh, you are then going to really be able to delve deeper into the artistry and to really call yourself an artist first and foremost. I think that we're afraid to call ourselves artists. I think that we are artists. I am an artist, God damn it. I'm an artist, and I've been doing this for a really long time. And I look at the world in a different way.
Speaking of a really long time.
Go on.
Stick my oar in.
Please do.
How did you get started in this? What first turned you on to this?
What's this? Being
improvising.
my family moved when I was 10 to a neighborhood in Chicago. And my mother signed me up at the Jewish Community Center for a class.
From where to?
From just one neighborhood to another. And in Chicago, and she said, I signed you up for classes in drama. And I remember being at the front door, taking my coat off and going, what's drama? And she told me, and I worked with this woman named Esther Weichel, and I was 10. And I took classes there, and then Esther cast me in a bunch of plays there, and I was the kid in all the adult plays. And there was a lot of money that was being spent on the production back then to help the Jewish Community Center and all these people. You know, it was just really like there were costumers, and there's a costume shop, and there were carpenters that worked on the show, and they all donated, and there were maybe 4 shows a year. They were just huge productions. And then I went to college. My dad said, get a degree in something useful, and I went, I'll show you. And I have a degree in photojournalism. I'm a journalist by training, but my 5th year of college, that showed you how much I studied. My 5th year of college, I decided to go back into theater.
Did you do acting in college?
No, I didn't. I did one. My fifth year, I said I want to go back, and I auditioned for a play. and I got a lead role in Max Frisch's The Firebugs, and it just totally turned my
Were you
world
Max
around.
or one of the Firebugs?
I was one of the Firebugs. Max was the playwright. I was one of the Firebugs, and it was a great show, and I thought, yes, this is what I'm here for. And I keep being reminded that I am on this planet to be an actor. I'm not on this planet to be a struggler. I'm not on this planet to be a sufferer. You know, I am on this planet to be an actor, and the source of all suffering is non-acceptance. So the moment that you say, I accept who it is that I am that, and it was like, fuck being a journalist, I'm done with that. You know, I've done that before I even started. But I did a lot of freelance. I freelanced for the Sun-Times, the Tribune, UPI. I got an award for a spot news thing. But still, my system always had acting in it. And then when I graduated college, I moved back to Chicago, which is a really amazing time to be in Chicago. It was a golden age of, it wasn't a golden age, but it was the time that theater blossomed in Chicago. You had Remains, which brought you William H. Macy from Remains. You've got Steppenwolf, which started at that time. And I was cast in a Steppenwolf show in Three Penny Opera, and that, for some reason, there was another show that was running a long time, and that didn't go, but I remember being cast in a Steppenwolf show.
Did you feel like you were doing a lot of improvising in your acting then? Did that come to you?
Well, let me get back. So I auditioned for a lot of shows there, and then I was asked to. I was not an improviser then, and then I was asked to improvise for a theater company called Geese Theater Company for prisons, and I got cast in that, and I toured the country for a year. I was 25 years old, touring and doing non-comedic improvisation in prisons across the United States.
Wow. How did that go?
That was really, I had a one-year contract that lasted 10 months, but it was one of the most intense experiences, and it totally changed my life, because mask work, it was non-comedic, and we went into heavy drugs. My first joint was Stateville in Illinois. So Stateville, we went to Stateville, we went to Joliet, you know, Joliet. And then we got to a...
What was the response?
The response was great, because we really aimed it towards these people, and it was improv, and we aimed towards these people, and what would end up happening is after the show, we would mix with the population, and they would pull me aside, and they say, that happened to me.
Were you doing, what sort of improv were you doing for the prisoners? Was it?
It was a story, it was basically, it was a set, we brought a set in, and the story was about visitation. It was about, so me and my wife, we would improvise a scene, and I would get arrested, and I'd get thrown in the joint, and she would, you know, so I would have to deal with being in the joint, and she would have to deal with being outside the joint, taking care of our children, wife, girlfriend, probably. And then I would, you know, and we dealt with some pretty heavy things. I remember being in Granite, Oklahoma, and I thought, you know what, I want to deal with prison rape. So we had a meeting. We had a meeting. There were no AIDS back then. So we had a meeting, and a meeting during the show, in the piece. And I told my wife that I kind of went around the corner, because this is the way that you can't just know that. And afterwards, a guy came up to me, and he was hemming and hawing, shuffling his feet, and talking to me, and saying how that has happened to him, and how watching it on the stage totally made him go, I'm less feeling alone. I've never seen the guy, I mean, this is a long time ago, but the bottom line is that taught me improvisation. But what it also did was, it was a great merging of theater, of my journalism background, in an introduction to improvisation. Yeah. Then I moved back to Chicago, and I auditioned for a place called Improv Olympic, and I was on the second Herald team there. The second Herald team. And from then I met Mick Napier, and Joe Bill, and Susan Messing, and a bunch of other people, Mark Howard Sutton, and Faith Soloway, and we started the Metroform, which then became the United Theater. And then I auditioned for the Second City Training Center, and I got into that. And then I auditioned for the touring company, got into that. I told Mick, I said, you know, I can't do Annoyance anymore. And then I just delved into my career at Second City.
So, you talked a bit about this, but I want to get back to it a little bit. You were here 2.5 years ago, as we were talking about earlier.
Figured that out.
Yeah, eventually. And you said something, someone else you reminded me of you saying this. You said that the skills that you need in improv are like the skills you need in love.
Absolutely.
Or some.
It was really, it was one of those things where suddenly you're teaching and you're going, teaching and you go, oh my God. It's the muscles that you use in improvisation, the same muscles that you use when you're in love, where you meet someone and suddenly there's a connection that you have, and I'm talking about on stage. Yeah. There's a connection that you have with that person, and suddenly whatever they say matters so tremendously, and wherever they're standing matters, and when they touch you it matters, and when they don't touch you it matters, and when they don't say what you want them to say it matters, and when they say what you want to say it matters, you know, and when they say something that bothers you, it fucking bothers you. It really bothers you. And when they, you know, and you get the ability, but all that is only going to work if you are vulnerable. You know what I mean? And the people that I love playing with and I love watching, those are the people that are vulnerable, that are really able to open themselves up. Think about it. The opposite of vulnerable is invulnerable. You know, it's invulnerable. You are invulnerable. You are not able to be vulnerable. And when you are not able to be vulnerable, your ego is in the way. And what's happened in my life is I've suddenly taken on this, I read this book called Buddhism Plain and Simple. I was on my way to teach a workshop in Santa Cruz, and I was at LAX, and I had an epiphany at LAX. I bet it does. I had one today when I realized they have Vienna beef sausages, and the bun's wrong, at the restaurant over there. I'm like, God damn it, and I ate it, and that was 12 points of Weight Watchers. So I have 7 points left over, so I'm going to have sugar packet for dinner. But anyway, I had this epiphany. I'm reading this book. And the book was Buddhism Plain and Simple, and by Steve Hagen. And the book made me realize that Steve Hagen has written the best improv book, and he has no idea. He's a Buddhist monk. He has no idea that he's written this great book. And it's all about being in the moment, being present in the moment. You can't be ahead of yourself. You can't be behind yourself. You can only be in the moment. And he was the one that I think said, the source of all suffering is non-acceptance. And when you are in a scene and you are not accepting that which it is that you think the scene is supposed to go in a particular direction, you are suffering. And in that moment of suffering, what's happening, and there's also a lot of Eckhart Tolle. I read A New Earth, and there's a lot of Eckhart Tolle in my teaching as well, in that why you need to accept what it is that we have in this moment. And that's the only thing that you have. This moment is can only be filled up with the present time. Does that make sense? This moment, all that we have is this moment. So please accept this moment and come into a scene not having an expectation of anything other than I am going to be present to this moment. And it's a practice. And usually when you are in a scene and there's an imbalance or there's frustration that you have, it's your ego that is in the way. And your ego and your personality, and I think Eckhart Tolle said, he mentioned personality, and lately what I've been saying in my classes, your personality is not allowed in my fucking classroom. I don't give a shit about your personality, you know, because if I'm in a scene with you and I need for you to yell at me, and when you're out of here, you're known as a nice guy, you know, stop bringing your nice guy onto my stage. I don't give a shit about your nice guy. That's why you're an actor who improvises. I'm on a roll, man. Don't stop.